What are the main things to do when you are showing a buyer? What are some of the things that you should make sure that you are not missing the mark on when you're actually showing a buyer a real estate property that is for sale? Hi, I'm Paul R. Atkinson, your professional coach. And today we're going to talk about, just briefly, what are some of the key milestones that you should be touching when you are showing a buyer a property, and the results that you want is you actually want them to say, yes, let's go ahead and make an offer. Is that what you want? All right, I got it. I'm going to show you just exactly what to do as we talk about this. Before we get started, just remember, in the description, click on the link that's going to help you to be more productive in working with the buyers. There's several techniques that you could use to do so, and there's a couple of mind-setting things that you could do to make sure that you envision the actual events happening in your business. So let's answer the question. You guys say, hey, Paul, what are some of the things that you should do when you're showing a property to a buyer? The first thing that you should do is to make sure that you've prepared for the day. Are you ready to show that buyer? Is that buyer curious to see the properties that you have to show them? You know, inside of the description, we talk about my second book, The 5 Steps of the Sale. And in the 5 steps of the sale, we have 5 unique steps. Step number 1 is conversation, and that's where you get your client to like you, to listen to you, to trust you, and to believe in you. And then you would get what they're wanting to see and how they're going to feel about it. And then after step 1, then step 2 is curiosity, and you get them really hungry to hear your proposal and see what you have to show them. So right there, you must establish that. That's one of the things that you must do. Make them curious to see the properties that you're going to show them. And there's a couple of ways to do that. Just remember, you can always link with us in the description. Now, when you get them curious, how's that going to help you, and how is it going to impact the presentation? Because that's what you want to do. You want it to be impactful. You want the presentation to be impactful. Make sure that the property that you're showing is something, people, that they want to see. That means you should have been listening to them from the beginning in the conversation stage when they were telling you what they want to see. You see, from when I started out this business, I remember in 1993, I started my sales career, but then I started my real estate career in 2003. And one of the biggest things was, for me, when I first got my lead, which was the very first day that I got my license, my brother was a mortgage broker, and he says, I knew you would pass your exam. Here is a lead, $250,000 FHA. I called the lead up. I had a pen in my hand, and I said, hey man, I'm Rich's brother. I'm a realtor, and how can I help you? And what do you guys want to see? And I was just writing word for word, exactly the same phrase and words that they use. So you see, when I repeated back to them using their language, their terminology, and if they address a house as a single family home or a townhome, I was right on the nail. They said they wanted an open plan because they want to cook food and see the people around. You got to get that. You got to get that from the jump. So you have to write it down. Make sure you're hitting the nail right on the head. And that means you're listening to what they're saying they want to see. So that's one of the most important things you can do. As we move on, right, you want to make sure that you're showing, and it's very impactful. So not only do you have a connection with the client, and you're actually listening to what they're saying to you, and you're making the presentation of the property in such a way that they're able to see what they told you that they wanted. That's important. They have to be able to see what it is that they told you they wanted inside of the presentation. And then finally, here's the thing, the real kicker. When you're definitely showing the house, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're staying out of their way. So I don't want you to be inside of their vision range. So if you're showing this house, sometimes you go on a showing with a realtor or the listing agent and they're just doing this right here. Yep. Talking. Don't do that. You need the people to see and they need to be able to process their own thoughts. So don't get in their way. Man, I hate that. Don't do that. Give them an opportunity to go through the home, turn on all the lights, open the blinds, stay out the darn way. Be like a servant. Be like a butler or a maid, male, female, and be just next to them, like parallel, right? Or behind them. Do not be in front of their view. If they're looking into a room, they should not be seeing you, my friends. You should be over here or behind them. Don't get in their way and don't yap. Biggest thing, when you're finished showing the property, you got to top it off by opening up your mouth and saying, okay, what do you guys feel about this home? I know I feel good about it for you because it has the open plan that you said you wanted. It had the updated kitchen and the bathroom that you said you wanted. And it had the school district that you said you needed for the kids. You've got to repeat that. This is like, it's so darn easy. Well, maybe for me, for the past 3 decades, that's 30 years that I've been using that technique, how to present a product. Now, I started out with the United States Navy. I sold computers, I sold cars, I sold life insurance. Now I'm working with what? What's the product? A house? Same way. Gotta have a connection, gotta create curiosity, gotta give an impeccable presentation that involves what they're wanting to see and what they need. That's it. So let's just summarize it for you real quick. Remember, in the description, click on the link that's going to help you to show a property or to make an impeccable presentation where your clients will say, yeah, where do I sign? Let's sum it up real quick. Come on. Let's sum it up. When you're showing a client a property, for those you realtors out there, the biggest thing is what? Have a connection. Make sure they like you, they listen to you. Make sure you know what they're wanting to see. And then when you go out there, pay attention to the client and give them what they're wanting to see. And when you do open up the doors, you need to make sure you go through the house, turn on the lights ahead of them, open up the blinds, make it up, and stay out of their way. And don't yup. That's summer right now. Don't talk. Oh, this is that. Squash it. Shut your mouth. Zip it. I remember when I first started many years ago, a friend of mine, Mike, I won't call his last name. Mike, if you're seeing this, you know how I feel about you, buddy. Listen, Mike was saying to me, hey, man, you're too quiet when you show the houses. You should be talking and selling it up. Nah, property sells on its own. And not only that, you're there to guide them and they can feel the energy. Don't worry about it. It will come. Just guide them and give them what they're wanting and what they're needing and their DBM, their dominant buying motive. You got to give them that. So that is the summary of this. Make sure. And then the last thing, what did I say to you? When you're finished showing, you got to ask that question. How do you guys feel about this one? In my opinion, it has what you said you wanted. Am I on point or not? How do you guys feel about this one? Ask that question. How do you feel? And then they're going to turn around and say, well, you know what? We feel good about it. Or no, some things are. And then, depending on the outcome of that feedback, you always give a positive feedback in saying, I could totally understand how you feel. This is your point on this. No problem. We have 2 more to go see. Or let's just keep it in mind. We never know. Like that. It's always a pleasure, man. I love to come and talk to you guys. But I've got to run. I've got to go do something right now to help some folks. And until next time, remember, in the description, click on the link. That's going to help you to be more successful in your business and how to present your product to a client. In this particular case, we're talking about how do we show a property to a buyer. Just remember everything that I showed you and follow the protocol. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you soon. Give this a thumbs up. Make sure you like it, give a comment, and use the tools in the description. Until next time, I'll see you real soon. Let's go get them, Tiger.